Hello, board members of the Christian Volunteer Services. Our firm was hired to complete an in-depth analysis of your existing IT infrastructure and then review any future plans they had as well. And then we will come up with some recommendations for the future. To begin, let's look at the SWOT of the existing IT services. In 2016 and 2017, when looking at the strength, they had a surplus which could be reinvested back into charitable causes. Furthermore, the employees are already familiar with this old IT infrastructure, so there's no need for any extra new training on any new tools. Not to mention they have some customized applications for CVS's specific purposes and needs. The weaknesses include the fact it requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of people to carry out this maintenance, and the legacy systems and customized applications are expensive. And of course, when talking about the cost, the hardware and network and services are costly. Furthermore, moving on to the opportunities, there is an opportunity to move on to cloud solutions. Now, what can that help with? The cloud solutions can help with reducing the money that is spent on licensing and services and hardware. And of course, it can allow you to have more easy access to analytics services. CVS has goals of doing analytics, and using cloud solutions can help with that. And it can also provide better scalability so that you can scale better with demand. Moving on to the threats, other charities could attract donors away from CVS if these other charities are using more modern IT infrastructure. Not to mention, older infrastructure can be liable to cyber attacks. And also, if the data is not properly backed up, or if the processes are all on premises rather than in the cloud, then with a natural disaster, the data can be lost. The strengths of the proposed system. Cloud solutions can scale easily with demand, as we mentioned, and of course the advanced analytics, which can help to optimize strategy and operations. And then moving on to the licensing costs and downtime and maintenance, all of these can be reduced as well. The weaknesses include the fact that the change may be quite big for some of the employees, which can cause them to lose some of their morale and also may lead to union delays. Not to mention the fact that initially the cost is quite high at 10 million, and training the employees on these new tools takes time and money. Moving on to the opportunities, with cloud solutions, there's an opportunity for AI to optimize outreach and also to have more focused marketing. Moving on to some of the trends and opportunities, you can talk about some of the trends, and some of the trends include the fact that younger generations are more open to charitable services. And so if CVS takes advantage of that to cater to more tech-savvy donors, it can increase its income. And then it can also partner with engagement platforms to boost its volunteer engagement or involvement. Moving on to the threats, data protection regulations like GDPR can be breached because there are problems with cloud security when it comes to data security. Furthermore, cybersecurity attacks, unfortunately, cloud solutions does not completely remove the risk of cybersecurity attacks. And then finally, cloud providers themselves can experience outages, which can cause disruptions for CVS. Moving on to perhaps the most important slide, we looked at different services that may exist in a company like CVS, and then looked at the different software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service that we can provision to them. To begin, let's look at the SaaS. The first solution here is Microsoft Dynamics 365. Now, when compared to the other service providers, which are the two other major ones are Amazon and Google, the Microsoft Dynamics 365 provides an advantage because it integrates well with other solutions that come from Microsoft that the business CVS may already be using, such as Outlook or even Teams, which moves me on to my next solution here, which is Teams, which can be used for communication. And it is a more complete solution when compared to the other service providers solutions. And then next is for cybersecurity, Valence SaaS platform. This again provides the benefit that if there are other Microsoft solutions exist at CVS, this can integrate with them and protect them. Furthermore, there is platform as a service. The solution here is Azure Synapse Analytics. Now, the other service providers also have excellent analytics solutions. However, the benefit of this one is that it has advanced analytics and even machine learning capabilities. Moving on to infrastructure as a service, the solution is Microsoft Azure Blob Storage, which is useful because it provides a robust solution that again exists in the Azure environment. And then when we compare all of these together, what is the benefit that each of one of them provides? Software as a service is beneficial because it's ready to use and even avoids any back-end development and reduces the technical overhead. Platform as a service, however, is also beneficial because it allows efficient management of the application lifecycle. And then infrastructure as a service means that the providers will take care of the infrastructure and make sure that it meets service level agreements. All of these can be provisioned as hybrid cloud, allowing private cloud for sensitive data and then the public cloud for less sensitive data. Now, this type of cloud has some security issues in terms of access management and data security and compliance, but that can be mitigated if using, for example, Microsoft. There is a built-in IAM or information access management, which can help with this mitigating these security issues, and it is called Microsoft Entra ID. And also they can use some third-party providers such as Metomic, which can help with data security. When considering all of these aspects, the recommended service provider is Microsoft and only Microsoft. This is because it has consistent interface of Dynamics 365. As you can see in the next few slides, it is recommended for 6 out of the 10 services. And so having one kind of solution for different services means a consistent interface so they can get used to it. The employees can get used to it and they do not need more training. Furthermore, one provider means smooth integration, operations, and good compatibility. And then moving on to the security, as we mentioned, with Microsoft Entra ID and Metomic, they can have strong security. And then finally, you can see bulk licensing and economies of scale. So the more services you can get from Microsoft, you can get discounts and get benefit from economies of scale. Next, let's look at the cost analysis and how they all compare to each other. Dynamics 365 is a complete solution, so it is quite expensive. Therefore, for HRM, payroll, and point of sale, we can see that the solution for Microsoft is more expensive than Google. And in fact, for accountancy, Microsoft is the most expensive out of all the service providers. However, Microsoft is the cheapest for communication and storage, and it is a cheaper cybersecurity solution than Amazon. So as we can see, it has advantages and disadvantages, but let's go more in depth to understand it. When we calculated the number of employees in each service and the cost of each service and then totaled it up for 3 years, we found that it totaled about 1.9 million, which is excellent because it leaves 8.1 million pounds in the budget to do R&D work or the other departments or do some of the on-premises work. So this shows that this solution was an excellent choice. Next, let's look at the information as a service and business process as a service. For information as a service, it can provide the benefit of increasing business adaptability, as well as allowing real-time data analysis. The proposed solution is Microsoft Purview, and this, when calculating the cost for 3 years, came out to about £2,000, which is not bad. Moving on to the business process as a service, we mentioned how CVS requires something for e-commerce. Business process as a service can provide that. Not only that, but when talking in the perspective of a user, it can help shift the conversation from CapEx to OpEx. Now, what solution can we provision? Unfortunately, the best solution here isn't a Microsoft solution, but it is still an excellent solution called Shopify Plus, which has proven to be very useful for charities, and it can reduce overheads as well as allow more donations through features such as optional tipping. And when we calculate the prices for 3 years, it came up to about £64,000, which again is not too bad for 3 years. Next, the sustainability credentials of each of these providers. Google and Amazon have net zero goals by 2030 and 2040 respectively. However, Microsoft has gone further, looking for carbon negativity by 2030. The 2023 emissions report showed that both Google and Microsoft had an increase in their emissions, whereas Amazon reduced their emissions. The transparency of Google and Microsoft is good, while Amazon is suffering in this department. And then the efficiency, every one of the providers is doing processes in order to help increase its efficiency, such as advanced AI cooling systems or efficient server designs or even efficient chips and code. Moving on to some of the other credentials, Google actually matched its entire yearly electricity consumption with renewable energy purchases. And even Amazon is investing in renewable energy. And then when looking at the chosen provider, Microsoft, Azure has been carbon neutral since 2012, and it is actively trying to remove all the carbon that it has released since 1975 and to do that by 2050. Therefore, Microsoft has good solutions and decent sustainability credentials. Thank you.